My cousin manages a surf shop in Byron Bay. 3 months back, this American guy walks in, fresh off the plane from California, wearing a shirt that says, "Live your truth," in massive letters. He spots one of our regulars, Dave, who just landed an insane barrel ride. The American rushes over, phone out, ready to document greatness. Dave's coming off the water, absolutely buzzing. The American starts with, "Dude, that was sick. You're gonna be famous. That wave was perfect." Dave just shrugs, looks at his board and goes, "Yeah, nah, bit of luck really, wind was doing most of the work." The American blinks twice. He leans in closer like Dave didn't hear him properly and says, "No man, own it? That was all you. You're a legend." Dave scratches his head, genuinely uncomfortable now, and responds, "Mate, dozens of blokes here can do that. Just happened to be in the right spot." The American looks around at us like we're all witnessing an insane moment of false modesty. He turns to me and goes, "Is he serious right now? That's Olympic-level humility." Here's what he didn't understand. Dave wasn't being humble. He was being Australian. The American spent the next hour trying to get Dave to post about it on social media, kept saying stuff like, "You've got to build your personal brand, man." Dave eventually just paddled back out to avoid the conversation. The American told everyone at the hostel that night about the guy who was too afraid of success to celebrate his own achievement. Speaking of Americans who don't understand our whole deal with success, my brother works at a co-working space in Brisbane. Last year, this American consultant shows up for a 3-month contract. First team meeting, someone mentions their weekend project got some traction. The American jumps in with, "That's what I'm talking about. Hustle culture." Everyone just kind of nods politely. Then he asks everyone to go around and share their biggest achievement from the previous month. My brother mentions he finally got his tomato garden producing. The American waits for more. Nothing comes. He actually says, "No, like your professional achievement. Your win." My brother replies, "Mate, I'm telling you, those tomatoes are genuinely impressive. Been working on the soil pH for months." 2 weeks later, the American's still confused why nobody brings up their accomplishments in casual conversation. My sister teaches at a university in Adelaide. She's got this American exchange student who keeps raising her hand to talk about her high school valedictorian status. 3rd week of class, she references it again while answering a question about economic. After class, my sister gently mentions, "You've done well, but maybe let the current work speak for itself." The student looks wounded and says, "But in America, we're taught to leverage our achievements. How else will people know my credentials?" My sister just smiled and said, "Trust me, if you're good, everyone will know. They just won't hear it from you." I manage a small marketing agency in Perth. Last March, we hired this American who'd done campaigns for major brands back in LA. First client pitch. He opens with a 5-minute introduction listing every award he's won, every big name he's worked with, every campaign that went viral. Our client, a guy who runs a chain of hardware stores, just sits there looking increasingly uncomfortable. When the American finishes, the client nods slowly and says, "Right. So what you got for us then?" The American seems confused by the lack of enthusiasm. Later, the client pulls me aside and goes, "Is he always like that? Felt like I was at a job interview, not a pitch." I tried explaining that Americans build credibility differently. He shakes his head and responds, "Mate, if you're good, you don't need to say it. Your work'll do the talking." The American couldn't understand why we lost that account. He kept insisting it was because he didn't emphasize his achievements enough. He actually made a longer introduction for the next pitch. We lost that one too. He eventually sent me an article about how Australian business culture was holding back innovation because we don't celebrate winners properly. My mate coaches rugby at a community club in Hobart. This American dad moves to the area, kid joins the team. After the first game, which they won, the American's going around congratulating all the boys individually, making a huge deal about each kid's contribution. He gets to this one kid, Liam, who scored 2 tries. The American goes, "Buddy, you were the MVP today. You're a star." Liam just kind of shuffles awkwardly and mutters, "Team played well." The American puts his hand on Liam's shoulder and says, "No, you played well. It's okay to be proud." My mate steps in and explains that we teach kids to value team effort over individual glory. The American looks at him like he's describing child abuse. He actually says, "You're teaching them to downplay their own success? That's gonna destroy their confidence." Fast forward 3 weeks, the Americans organized a Player of the Week award system without asking anyone. He presents the first trophy at practice. My mate had to quietly retire the whole thing after the other parents complained their kids felt weird about the singling out. The American posted on a parenting forum about how Australian sports culture was suppressing children's self-esteem through forced collectivism. I work the counter at a community center in Canberra. We run classes, workshops, basic community stuff. This American woman signs up for a pottery course. She's actually brilliant at it, picks it up faster than anyone we've seen. Problem is, every class she's talking about how she's thinking of opening an Etsy shop, maybe doing markets, turning this into a side business. The instructor, Jan, who's been doing pottery for 30 years, just nods along politely. 4th week, the American brings business cards to class. Hands them out to everyone. They say, "Artisan Potter," with her name in gold lettering. Jan takes one, studies it for a moment and says, "You've made 4 bowls, love." The American laughs it off. "Gotta think like an entrepreneur. My business coach says visibility is everything." Jan just goes back to her wheel. Later, the American corners me at the desk, asking why Jan isn't more supportive of her ambitions. I tried explaining that Jan probably thinks it's a bit early for business cards. She responds, "That's exactly the problem. Australians wait for permission to be successful. In America, we create our own opportunities." She stopped coming to the class after Jan wouldn't write her a testimonial for her website. My brother-in-law runs a pub in Darwin. Quiet local spot, same regulars most night. This American couple starts coming in, visiting for work. They're fine at first, normal tourists. Then one night, the guy orders a round and tells the bartender, "My brother-in-law, I just closed a major deal today. Biggest of my career." He's waiting for a reaction. My brother-in-law just says, "Good on ya, mate," and starts pouring. The American seems disappointed. He adds more details. 7 figures. 20 months of negotiation. I made it happen. My brother-in-law slides the beers over. "That'll be $48. The American pays, but he's visibly deflated. His wife whispers something to him. He leans over the bar and says, "Do people not celebrate wins here?" My brother-in-law just shrugs. "We do, yeah. Just doesn't usually require a parade." The American sits back down, nursing his beer, looking genuinely confused. His wife tries to cheer him up by saying maybe Australians are just more reserved. He shakes his head and responds, "No, it's cultural. They're trained not to acknowledge excellence because it threatens their egalitarian worldview." They spent the rest of the night at a corner table, him explaining to her how Australian culture was basically a sociological experiment in forced mediocrity. My brother-in-law still laughs about it. Apparently they left him a huge tip with a note that said, "For putting up with tall poppy syndrome." I work at a cafe in Fremantle. Not fancy, just good coffee and decent breakfast. This American comes in every morning for 2 weeks. Always orders a flat white. Always starts chatting with whoever's working. Nice enough. Then one day, he asks to speak to the owner. Boss comes out. The American launches into this whole thing about how the staff are wonderful, how the coffee's great, but he's noticed we're missing an opportunity. He pulls out his phone, shows us his Instagram. Says he's got 15,000 followers. He's offering to post about us, tag us, drive traffic. In exchange, he wants free coffee for the rest of his trip. My boss just stares at him for a second and goes, "Mate, we've been here 20 years. We're full every morning. We don't need Instagram." The American actually looks offended. He says, "You're turning down free marketing? Do you know how much a sponsored post costs?" My boss replies, "About the same as a month of coffee, I reckon." The American tries to explain that his followers are high-value consumers who trust his recommendations. My boss cuts him off. "If they trust you, they can pay for coffee like everyone else." The American left. Never came back. Posted a review online saying we had a hostile attitude toward influencer partnerships and were stuck in the past. My cousin drives for a rideshare service in Sydney. Picks up this American woman heading to the airport. She's on her phone the whole drive, having this loud conversation about her business. When they arrive, she hangs up and says, "Sorry about that. I'm actually a productivity coach. I help people optimize their time management. That was a client call." My cousin just nods, starts getting her bags out. She keeps talking. "I've been in Australia doing workshop. Honestly, it's been challenging. Australians have this really relaxed attitude about time. I've been trying to teach people that time is money." My cousin loads the last bag and says, $42. She pays, then adds, "You could probably benefit from my services actually. I bet you could double your income with better scheduling." My cousin responds, "I'm doing fine, thanks." She looks at him like he doesn't understand his own potential. She pulls out a business card. "I'm running a webinar next month. It's called From Adequate to Excellent. You should join." My cousin takes the card, mostly to be polite. She adds, "The problem with Australian work culture is settling for good enough. Americans understand that good enough is the enemy of great." She tips $5 and says, "That's for taking the first step toward excellence." My cousin still has the card in his glove compartment. He keeps it there as a joke. My sister works at a restaurant in Hobart. Proper place, nice wine list, chef takes his time with each dish. This American family comes in for dinner. They order, everything's fine. Food comes out. It's excellent. They eat. But then the dad calls my sister over and says, "This meal was absolutely incredible. I need to speak to the chef." My sister heads back to the kitchen. Chef's suspicious because usually that sentence means complaint. He comes out, wiping his hands. The American stands up, shakes his hand firmly and declares, "You, sir, are an artist. This lamb was perfection. You should be running a restaurant in Melbourne. Or Sydney. You're wasted in Tasmania." The chef just nods slowly, says, "Thanks mate, appreciate it." The American's not done. He continues, "Have you thought about expanding? Opening a second location? You could franchise this." The chef responds, "Happy where I am, thanks." The American seems baffled. He pushes further. "But you could be one of Australia's top chefs. You've got talent." The chef just smiles. "Already am one of Tasmania's best chefs. That's plenty." The American sits back down, tells his family that the chef has no ambition. He says it loud enough for nearby tables to hear. He paid, left a massive tip, and wrote, "Invest in yourself," on the receipt. My brother-in-law manages a bookshop in Newcastle. Small, independent, been there for decades. This American guy comes in, starts browsing. Eventually brings a stack of business books to the counter. While my brother-in-law's ringing them up, the American says, "I'm actually writing a book myself. About mindset and success." My brother-in-law just nods politely. The American continues, unprompted. "It's based on my journey from broke to millionaire. I'm working with a publisher in LA. Should be out next year." My brother-in-law tells him the total. The American pays but keeps talking. The Australian market needs this content. I've noticed people here don't really talk about their ambitions. That's a mindset issue. My brother-in-law hands him the bag. The American lingers and adds, "You're a business owner. Do you have a vision statement?" My brother-in-law responds, "I sell books, mate." The American looks concerned. "But how do you stay motivated? What's your why?" My brother-in-law pauses and says, "I like books. I like people. I like this shop. That's pretty much it." The American seems genuinely distressed by this answer. He reaches into his bag, pulls out one of the books he just bought and says, "Here, read chapter 3. It's about finding your purpose." He hands it back, refuses to take money for it. My brother-in-law tried to explain he doesn't need it. The American insists, "This is an investment in your future. You'll thank me." He left. The book's still sitting in the office. My brother-in-law uses it as a doorstop. I work for a small tech startup in Melbourne. We hired this American developer remotely. She's based in LA, wanted to keep West Coast hours, which meant she'd be working our evenings. First month, she's excellent. Solid code, great communicator. But then she starts scheduling calls during our workday to sync up. These calls always start the same way. Her talking about her workout routine, her meditation practice, her productivity hacks. She'd say things like, "I got up at 4:30 a.m. because that's when champions start their day." Or, "I've been doing this new biohacking protocol. My outputs increased by 30%. Our team would just sit there, coffee in hand, waiting for the actual meeting to start. One day, my boss gently mentions that maybe we could skip the personal updates and jump straight to the work stuff. She looks hurt. She explains, "In Silicon Valley, we believe in bringing our whole selves to work. Personal growth is professional growth." My boss just responds, "Right? Let's talk about the code review." She seemed deflated. Next meeting, she opens with, "I know some people aren't comfortable with authenticity in the workplace, but I believe excellence requires vulnerability." Then she launches into a story about her morning journaling practice. We listened politely. After the call, my boss muted and said, "She's good at her job, but I don't need to know about her chakras." She eventually left for a different company. Her exit email was 3 paragraphs about growth mindset and reaching for your potential. My mate's a tour guide in Cairns. Does reef trips mostly. This American couple books a day tour. Soon as they're on the boat, the guy's asking questions. Not about the reef. About success. He sees my mate's been doing this for 12 years, asks, "So what's next for you? What's the bigger plan?" My mate just says, "This is the plan, mate." I love this. The American shakes his head. "No, I mean career-wise. Where are you trying to get to?" My mate looks confused. "I'm already here. I take people to the reef. I'm living in Cairns. I'm done." The American seems deeply troubled by this. He turns to his wife and says, "See, this is what I was talking about. No drive." He then asks my mate, "Don't you want to own the company? Expand the business? Scale up?" My mate responds, "The owner's my cousin. He's happy running it. I'm happy working it. Everyone's happy." The American spends the rest of the trip trying to explain opportunity cost and entrepreneurial thinking. He tells my mate he's suffering from geographic complacency because he's content in a small market. My mate just nods along, points out a turtle. At the end of the day, the American hands him a card for a business coach in Brisbane. Says, "This guy changed my life. He could help you think bigger." My mate thanked him, threw the card in the recycling bin at the dock. The American posted a review online that said the tour was great, but the guide lacked ambition and professional development goals. I run a gym in Adelaide. Basic setup, mostly regulars, not fancy. This American joins, says he's in town for 6 months for work. First week, he's fine. Friendly, works hard. Second week, He starts talking to other members during their workouts, giving unsolicited advice, telling people they could lift heavier, run faster, train harder. One morning, he corners this older bloke, Terry, who's been coming here for 15 years. The American says, "I've been watching you, man. You've got potential, but you're playing it safe. You could add 20 kilos to that bench press." Terry just says, "I'm 67, mate. I'm not playing anything. I'm staying healthy." The American responds, "Age is just a number. Mindset is everything. I can coach you to break through your limiting beliefs." Terry looks at me, I shrug. He tells the American, "I appreciate it, but I'm good." The American won't let it go. He explains that Terry's settling for mediocrity, and that we're all capable of greatness if we push past our comfort zones. Terry finishes his set, wipes down the bench, and walks away. The American comes up to me after and says, "Is everyone here just okay with being average?" I tried explaining that Terry's had 2 knee surgeries and is genuinely doing well for his age. The American says, "That's exactly the kind of excuse-making that holds people back. He needs a breakthrough." Terry actually filed a complaint. Said the American was making people uncomfortable with his constant pushing. I had a chat with the American about respecting boundaries. He said I was enabling fixed mindsets and that my gym lacked a culture of excellence. He quit his membership the next week. Posted online that we were a gym for people who've given up on their potential. I work at a university in Brisbane, International Student Services. This American exchange student comes in 3 weeks into her semester. She's upset. Says she's trying to make friends but it's not working. I ask her what's happening. She explains that she's been introducing herself to people, telling them about her achievements, her goals, her plans. She says, "I'm following all the networking advice, but people seem put off." I ask her to give me an example. She says, "Well, I meet someone, I tell them I graduated top of my class, I'm planning to do my master's at Stanford, I'm fluent in 3 languages. You know, building credibility." I nod slowly. She continues, "But then they just say cool and sort of drift away. Am I doing something wrong?" I explain, as gently as possible, that Australians tend to be more reserved about achievement. She looks confused. "But how else will they know who I am?" I suggest maybe leading with questions, showing interest in others first. She seems skeptical. She says, "That's not how networking works. You need to establish your value proposition." I try a different angle. Maybe just talk about normal stuff. Hobbies, interests. Don't worry about credentials. She frowns. "But I worked hard for those credentials. I should be proud." I agree she should be proud, just maybe let people discover those things naturally. She thanks me, but I can tell she's not convinced. 2 weeks later, she's back. Same problem. I ask if she tried the low-key approach. She admits, "I tried, but I couldn't help mentioning my GPA. It's a huge part of who I am." I tell her maybe that's the disconnect. She leaves, clearly frustrated. I later hear from her roommate that she's concluded Australians are just threatened by high achievers. My cousin bartends at a pub in Surfer's Paradise. Busy Friday night, packed with locals and tourists. This American bloke's been there a few hours, had a few beers, getting chatty. He starts up a conversation with the group next to him, all locals. Within 5 minutes, he's told them about his promotion, his investment portfolio, his new car. The locals are doing that polite Australian thing where they nod but their eyes are already looking for an exit. The American doesn't notice. He buys them around unprompted and says, "This is on me. I believe in celebrating wins." One of the locals, Dave, thanks him but looks uncomfortable about the free drink. The American continues, "You know what they say, work hard, play hard, right?" Dave just murmurs, "Yeah, something like that." The American leans in. "What do you do, Dave?" Dave replies, Bit of this, bit of that. The American laughs. Come on, man. Don't be modest. What's your thing? Dave shrugs. I fix air conditioners. The American's face lights up. That's awesome. Are you the best air conditioner guy in the Gold Coast? Dave looks genuinely uncomfortable now. I'm all right, mate. Get the job done. The American won't stop. That's the problem with Australians. You guys don't own your excellence. You're probably amazing at your job, but you won't admit it. Dave finishes his beer, thanks him again, and leaves with his friends. The American turns to my cousin and says, "See what I mean? Tall poppy syndrome." He fixes air conditioners but won't even take credit for it. That's a cultural sickness, man. My cousin just wipes down the bar and responds, "Maybe he just fixes air conditioners."